Let's talk about dogs. So this is my new little baby. She's a few weeks old. I'm not exactly sure how many weeks old, but this is her second day in the home. Now, her mom is over there. Say hi, Boo. Say hi. Hi, Boo. Hello. But what I've learned from these little things are that they are very much a man's best friend. Let's talk about how and why that is. Well, dogs are these little creatures that just want love. They just want their owners to love them. They just want to be very close to their owners. They're there for when we need somebody to talk to, when there is nobody there to talk to. They're quiet. They don't judge our words. They just listen. And we get to talk to them however we choose to. And we love them for that. They become a really big part of our lives. We treat them like they're humans, though they are animals. We sometimes even love them more than we do the other human beings in our lives. I'm sure that's because they don't talk back. They don't tell us where we're wrong. They don't tell us they don't like what we're saying. They just listen. They look at us with these eyes that say, I love you. And we look back at them and we speak those words to our dogs. Dogs show up. They are always present. They are always available. They are always willing just to be there for you, just to be what they are, which is a dog. And don't get me wrong, I'm sure we all have had our days where we're upset because we've come home and there's pee or poop on the floor and we have to clean it up after a long day of work where we're not really looking forward to do that particular task, but we perform it anyway because we understand they can't do it, so somebody has to do it. So we do it. Why are we so willing to clean up after our animals, but we're not willing to extend that same grace to other living beings whom are just like us? Why do we not know how to look at another human being with the same understanding that they're different and they may get things wrong and it's okay as long as we're willing to allow ourselves to understand that mistakes will be made? Why are we not willing to help fix the mistakes other human beings have made in our lives or their own, but we will do it for a dog? I'm sure a dog is just as similar or as closely resembles a human being than maybe any other animal. They have a head, they have two ears, they have a nose, they have eyes, they have a mouth, they have two front paws and two back paws. They can stand up on their two back paws and have their front paws accessible as hands. They are male and female, right? You can have a boy or a girl. They have fur, which is their hair. And I'm sure they have feelings. I'm sure dogs have feelings. I'm sure when you yell at your dog, they get sad. And you can tell that they're sad based on their facial expressions or them tucking their tails and going into their dwelling place where they feel safe and away from the abuse that we're giving them, because that's just how we are able to handle them for the moment. But we come away from that very quickly because we understand that whatever happened to us while we were away, or even in the presence of that dog, was not really the dog's fault. So there's no real reason to completely hold aggression or anger towards the dog. Can we not see where we're getting things wrong when it comes to dealing with other human beings? We want the same things. We want to be loved. We want to be close to the people we love. We want the people we love to just listen and to be willing to be there for us when we're needed. And that doesn't require much. It doesn't even require money, so to say, which is the thing that drives everybody nowadays, which actually pulls us away from being present for the people that we care about and love, even our dogs. But the dog doesn't complain when you leave and go off to work. They allow you to leave and go off to work. And they're ready and available to get back into your good graces as soon as you come home. They want you to pay them attention as soon as you come home. They want to jump up in your lap and lick your face when you come home and you present yourself back to the dog. But we don't do that for the people we love, for the people that we say we care so much about, for the people that we actually brought into the world. That doesn't really seem to make much sense to me. Maybe it's time that we start looking at ourselves and ask ourselves where we could be better for the human beings that look like us, that rely on us, that look to us like our dogs do, though their words may not always sound, I'm speaking in reference to these human beings now, their words may not always sound like we may want them to sound in order to recognize that they're looking for us to be of service and help to them. That is all they really want. And because a person doesn't have all the right words within their vocabulary to use to get somebody else who may be more equipped with language and better understands language to hear what they're saying, is not fair to neglect what they're saying or what they may even be asking without knowing exactly how to ask for it. Nobody's perfect. Not even our dogs. But we're willing to compromise more for them than we are for those other beings in our lives that we speak of in a way that sounds like we care, yet our actions don't show that we care. We should not be discouraged in trying to build and strengthen the relationships with the people in our lives because they don't use the words that are most suitable for our ears to hear. We should probably try to start looking past the words, right? And putting ourselves in their shoes and trying to really gauge what's really being said without the proper words being used. Your dog talks to you. Any animal that you have talks to you. You can't hear their words, but I'm sure that by you paying attention to them, you feel what it is that they need. There are clues or cues, so to say, that they display outwardly to let you know that they need a thing, or they may want a thing, or they're looking for something from you, the person that chose them to come into their household. Human beings have just as much right, if not more, than these little animals that we love so much, that we bring in and make part of our lives by choice. By choice, right? It's unfortunate that we don't get to choose who our family is and who we spend our time around when it comes to performing tasks outside of the home, like work. But these are all people who are in the same situations as our little babies are. So we have to be more mindful of everybody and not just ourselves. Because if we can't open our minds to think about others, then do we really care for anybody or anything other than ourselves? And if that's true, then why do we walk around saying that we care about people, our children, our parents, our friends, when we don't show them that we care? I've come to understand and realize that the absolute only difference between a dog and a human being is their ability to speak and to use words. That is it. There's nothing more. So, with that, I have come to understand better the phrase, a dog is a man's best friend. Because ultimately, a dog is just like God. He doesn't judge. He just listens. And he shows up whenever we call on him and we ask him to be there for us. Because when you call your dog, they come running and they're ready to serve. They're ready to be that safe space for you, right? They're ready to give you the attention that you need. They're ready to listen to whatever you have to say. I'm sure that's why we put our dogs before the people in our lives, unknowingly. But with that observation, maybe we should take that and start paying more attention to our dogs and our behavior towards our dogs, and shift our focus onto the real people, the other humans in our lives that quite possibly look at us the same way our dogs do, and give them what they need so that they can be their best selves for you and for them, and then for others. How about it? How about it? Maybe that will work. Maybe if we loved each other like we love these little things, we'd be happier people all across the board. Right? Right? It's just an observation. Think think about it. And while you're thinking about it, how about you write the word dog down and then spell it backwards and see what you get. And then tell me what you think. Right? I know. I know. The booby. Say bye-bye. Just a thought. Say bye-bye. Bye.